if you can give us a present when Susan does the roll, Melanie. That way on the record you're here.
Hey, you're on YouTube and the doors have been open for the public.
Okay, thank you. So let's see here. All right, it's time to go. It's 5:34. Let's call this thing to order. Susan, roll call, please.
Sure. District 1 still vacant. District 2,
Here.
District 3,
Present.
thanks. District 4,
Yeah.
Laura, thanks. District 5, District 6, Steve, can you hear me?
Here.
Thanks. I'm here. Mayoral Melanie, are you there?
Visually, she's here, but she is on the phone. Oh, there. Hold on. There she is.
Oh,
Was she gonna,
there she is.
I just want to make sure she's on the record as being here. But
Okay.
I mean, I know she's visually here. I'm sure, but I'm sure she'll chime in later.
Okay.
I don't know how we do that, but she doesn't.
Well, I see her and recognize her as Melanie. And Phil, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I just want to make sure it's on the record that she is here. She's on a call. She already said she was going to be on.
Okay, sounds good.
I was just hoping she could stay present. So we have an agenda that we have here. So we've gotten a couple of requests on the order. So Officer Belli needs to leave very soon. So we're going to have him go first after we approve the minutes. And then the Midtown Trail update is going to be after that. They are as well. They asked to go early as well. So we're going to do those two before we do unscheduled communication so that we can get them in and we can get them out. And that is all I have on there. I'm going to talk about an additional task force, but we can add that in. I don't think we need to add it in right now in the reports. We can talk about creating it, and that's all I have. Does anyone else have any issues with the agenda or the order or taking out things or putting things in? So then I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion to approve agenda as amended.
Thank you, Stephen.
Second it.
Susan's going to second. Anyone opposed to the changes? The agenda? Okay, it looks like we're all on board. So with that said, we're going to go over the minutes real quick. Any questions about the minutes from last meeting? Any questions about those? I was just looking at them right now and I didn't see anything, but I'm not that fast of a reader, so. Any questions? If there's no questions or any changes to the minutes, we'll need a motion to approve the minutes from last month.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Destiny.
Second.
Anyone? Who was that?
Steve, second.
Oh, Steve seconded. Anyone opposed to the minutes from last month? Okay, they pass. So we'll move on to our next item, which is Officer Belli. And we'll go on to that right now. So Officer Belli, when you're ready, we're all set here. He's unmuted, but I can't hear him.
Hello?
Yeah, there you are. I got you now.
Oh, sorry. Okay, hello, everyone. Thanks for the accommodation. So collision stats, I ran from February 1st, 2021 through September 30, 2021. And we had a total of 132 pedestrian collisions and 65 bicycle collisions. The same time in 2020, we had 123 pedestrian collisions and 44 bicycle collisions. As far as fatalities are concerned, we had one on September 24th. That was after the last meeting. It was at 7:18 p.m. It was a 57-year-old male pedestrian in dark clothing crossing Cedar Avenue south of Butler Avenue outside of the crosswalk. Witnesses there said it looked like he was trying to retrieve a dog from some witness statements, and then went back the other direction in a looked like he was going back westbound again. And they basically walked in front of a dark colored Toyota Corolla, which was southbound in the number 2 lane. This was a hit and run vehicle that fled the scene immediately after the collision. There was a fire department which rendered aid due to their close proximity. It was fire station number 8. They were basically across the street. There were streetlights present and functioning at the time of the collision, and the officers at the scene do believe that the pedestrian was possibly under the influence as a result of some evidence that they discovered during the investigation, and toxicology is pending on that. The second fatality we had was on October 1st. That was at 10:16 p.m. Again, it was a 57-year-old male, this time on a bicycle, crossing Blackstone Avenue, eastbound on Griffith Way. He was in the crosswalk, but crossing on a solid red light. The bicyclist was struck by a vehicle that was southbound on Blackstone in the number 1 lane. Upon examination of the bicycle after the collision, there were no brakes or lighting on the bicycle. The cyclist was also wearing dark clothing and failed to wear a helmet. The evidence at scene also suggests that the bicyclist may have been under the influence, and again, toxicology is pending. The collision that was prior with the pedestrian on 924, preliminary investigator advised that the primary collision factor on that is going to be pedestrian in the roadway at that time. And of course, we also have the hit and run charge, which the hit and run detectives are currently investigating. There were, I don't know if anyone's aware, but there were 2 other pedestrian collisions. I'm not really reporting on those because the circumstances involved, they were technically listed as pedestrians, but I don't. One of them was sitting off a private property at a taco truck at a table where a drunk driver came off the road and struck that person. So they are listed as pedestrian, but I don't think they qualify as part of like the pedestrian collision that I bring about normally in these meetings with those type of collision factors. The other one was in an alley, and it appeared there was some issues with a vehicle, and the person got out of the vehicle to look behind it. The driver stayed in the car, had extremely dark tinted windows, and then saw another person standing to the rear of the car, and they thought it was the individual that went to the back to check to see if there was some type of damage to the car because they heard a noise that they ran over something in the alley, and then it was an accidental run over. So I don't have too much more information on those 2 because they didn't really fall under like primary collision factor regarding the other 2. And as far as outside of our collisions and fatalities and statistics, we did do some public relation type events where we had a public pedestrian and bike safety presentation at Orez Elementary School on October 5th. And then October 20, we did the walk to school safety event with that same school, Orez, following the education event. And October 21st, we teamed up with Safe Kids Central California and did a lunch and learn for teen driver safety.
So what are we up to now in terms of, I know we had the collision stats here. What are we up to now in terms of fatalities for both bicyclists and pedestrians for the year?
So currently, for fatalities regarding pedestrians, 2021, we're at 18. Bicyclists, we're at 3. The two in so the one in the alley and the one sitting at the table are also going to be, they're included in that number as pedestrians.
The,
That's
any,
good to
any,
hear.
go ahead,
Sorry.
go ahead.
I was just saying that's good to hear they were included, because it was kind of weird that they weren't included in the initial like collision numbers there. But anyway,
No, they're included in our
Oh.
pedestrian fatalities, but they're not in the capacity as I normally report as far as they're pedestrians crossing a roadway. They're either in the road or in a crosswalk or anything like that. They're completely off the road. The first one was on private property, sitting at a table in front of, I believe it was like a taco truck.
So is that included in the collision as well?
That's oh yeah, it's a collision, yes.
Okay.
It's included in the numbers I just gave you. So that would be considered a pedestrian. That's considered a pedestrian and listed in the 18 that I gave you.
Got it, okay. Thank you, Matthew. Any other questions for Officer before he has to leave?
We need to catch the bike thieves.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking, you guys need to keep an eye out for bike thieves. I know 4 more bikes have been stolen out of garages since mine. It's just a personal thing. Please continue, man.
oh yeah, sorry. I was going back and forth between typing and speaking. Anyway, so the one other thing. I didn't see the fatalities specifically mentioned in the report that you did show. I do like that you're producing those. It seems like every month now. Though I think I do remember like asking you to include the fatalities on the same report last month as well. But so I mean, could you?
Oh, you wanted so.
You only
I mean,
had. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You had the number of collisions, but you didn't. I didn't, unless I could be wrong, since I'm going back and forth between.
No, you're right, Matthew. Yeah, and that's why I asked, because it wasn't on there.
Okay.
So yeah, the collisions are great, and the fatalities and the reports are great. But I think, yeah, if we can get the just every month, just the tally on the fatalities, that would be great too, Officer.
So like the 18 I advised you of is you'd want that. Oh, so just written on the form itself?
Yeah,
because
the form's good. If we could just also just see the number, that way we can, everybody has just kind of can see what's going on, including the public.
Got it. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other questions? I see that we have a hand raised in the attendees, and so we'll switch it over now to Joe. Joe, real quick, for Officer Belli before he's got to leave.
Yeah, just a real quick question. First of all, Phil, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yes, Phil,
thank you, everybody. Officer Belli, good evening.
Hello.
Officer, in your report that you gave, you mentioned that the cyclist, I believe, wasn't wearing a helmet and was hit and was involved in a hit and run. Right. And right. And then there was another pedestrian that was also hit. Do we know what speed these vehicles were traveling? I'm assuming 40 and faster, because we all know speed kills.
No, I don't have that. And those are calculations that our crew investigators spend a lot of time before they come up with a speed. There's different mathematical formulas they use. They download data from the vehicle itself. They have equipment that they can do that. As far as there was video for the vehicle that struck the cyclist, and I asked the detective about that, and he, as far as the video is concerned, looking at they're able to estimate, a speed. He said that he did not see any unreasonable speed from the vehicle regarding that collision.
Right,
I'm sorry, but the hit and run was for the pedestrian. I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, okay. And then the other thing, Officer Bella, you mentioned something about the bicycle helmet, and we all know that if someone's hit by a driver 40 and faster, there's most likely that helmet is not gonna save that person's life.
No, but in my experience and you guys asking me questions, you get really specific to even little things like was the individual happen to be wearing a helmet, or was there lighting in the area? So I try to provide what I can.
Yeah. It was just, I just got off the offline with some national organizations, and that was one of the things that was brought up was helmets and speed and that kind of thing. And it was interesting that you mentioned that. So that's why I'm asking. Okay, Officer Bell, I thank you, sir, for your time, and thank you for the data.
Thank you, Joe.
Joe, can I address something for you? My experience as a firefighter, it is true higher than 40 miles per hour. They have a expectation that they may have fatal injuries, but I have seen some wrecks with cyclists at a higher speed that they have survived, depending on how they hit. But yeah, speed definitely decreases the amount of likability of survivability.
Right. And I like that answer. That's great. and I know that's what Officer Belli meant. I was just clarifying it. So thank you for your explanation. It was actually great. It was a great explanation.
Any other questions for Officer Belli at this time from our members? All right, we're all good. So thank you so much again, and I'm glad we were able to get you out of here before 6.
Great, thanks. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, officer.
We're gonna move over to a Midtown Trail update with Jesus and Alex, who've asked to go earlier as well. They said about 5 to 10 minutes. I say that Joe gave them about 15. So yeah, we got some time here. Whenever you're ready, Alex and Jesus. The floor is yours. I see Jesus is unmuted. Alex is just unmuted now. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it looks like Jesus is having issues with his
Technical difficulties.
difficulties with Zoom. So let me go ahead and start. So good evening, everybody. Name's Alex Gonzalez. I'm with the City of Fresno Project Manager for Midtown Trail. Want to give everybody an update. These are the latest plans that we have. What we've done is, so this trail is planned to go from Blackstone to Fresno Street. Currently, due to budget, to be able to meet the budget requirements, we separated into 2 phases. Phase A will be from Blackstone to Manchester Center entrance, trail construction. There will be some striping that extends to Howard to provide that lane drop to be able to construct the trail right on the north side of the shield in front of the Manchester Center. The second phase will be construction of the eastbound trail that will go on the south side of Shield to the north bank of the existing canal, and extend to Fresno Street. So for the phase A, that's these plans right now. We anticipate to have approved plans first quarter of 2022, with construction third quarter 2022, and construction ending in the first quarter of 2023. For the second phase, we will be receiving preliminary plans in the second quarter of 2022, and anticipate to have the approved plans first quarter of 2023, with construction being third quarter of 2023 ending in the first quarter of 2024. That's kind of a quick overview. Yeah, any questions?
I think we had some members have some questions, so go ahead. Take it away, Susan.
Well, are those still the slip streams that are there on Shields coming off the freeway, or it's very hard for me to see this, but it looks like the on-ramp is still there as a.
Correct. So right now, the trail improvements only extend to the Manchester Center entrance. The second phase will be the construction. So the on-ramps will still be there, but the trail would be provided through the on-ramps, and the off-ramp and on-ramp on the east side of 41 will be modified, and with the construction of the trail that will be constructed on the south side of Shields with the second phase.
Okay, because I ride Shields regularly going west, and I really have not understood, how the trail is coming out of Manchester. And I actually rode this with my 8-year-old grandson, and was absolutely petrified.
So with the second phase, you'll be able to ride in front of the Manchester Center entrance. You'll be able to cross to the south side. Trail will continue towards the on-ramp. There will be some signal.
So this is the light on Shields that's like right there where the Deli Delicious and all.
Correct.
Is, or?
That is correct. Yes. So you'll travel south. Trail will continue on the south side. There'll be ramps with signal modifications. So there'll be a crossing that will take you on the south side of Shields. And this is on the west side of 41 right here. Trail will continue east through the off ramps. There'll be modifications to the off and on ramps on the east side of 41. That'll take you to the canal side. So the construction will be on the north bank of the canal, and that'll be the end of segment 1.
And can it be signage for people that don't ride bicycles or walk regularly so that they're going to know what to do at these intersections, or?
Signage in terms of, there'll be signage for our standard requirements, yes.
So, and I think, Susan, to kind of add to that, we're working on a project for wayfinding for signage that we could potentially supplement, with this project or add to it so that it makes it easier, so that how to navigate from one side of Shields to the next to get on the trail bank.
Right. Although I regularly ride west on Shields, and I really don't come back east because it seems even more dangerous than, riding, west. And there's a lot of people that like to speed between the lights and race and things like that. And ever since this thing happened at, Friant in Fort Washington, it's like, to me, this whole Manchester thing is just like, it really needs to be done appropriately so that people really know what to do there.
And Alex, is the plan still to kind of square up the northbound ramps there to make it more of a one intersection, rather than having the northbound slip and then a space and then you have the northbound off? It would be more
Right.
one intersection.
So the ramps will just be one intersection, that's correct. And then it'll just be one crossing.
But that's not shown, that's
No.
the phase 2.
This is the
of the
current
project.
phase. Yeah, this is the current existing conditions. So the future conditions for the south side of the trail are not shown yet. We don't have any plans yet. So those are currently in design, or will be in design for the south side.
So your comments are good. right now. I think they're timely, because I think we kind of took a step back from where we were a year or two ago. Alex, correct me if I'm wrong on that. I know Jesus is here somewhere. I saw his hand raised.
Yeah. Jesus is in the attendance now. He's an attendee.
But I think we had shown you some plans a few years ago of what the trail would look like. And I think we've kind of pulled back from that a little bit. And Alex, again, just jump in if I'm saying something wrong, but I think we are working on those plans again. Reevaluating.
Can we get Jesus going?
I think we need to unmute him.
Yeah, let's get Jesus. Because he's in the attendance now, so, or the attendee, rather than on the panel. But go ahead, Jesus. I think you're on now.
All right, can everyone hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, awesome, great. Thank you for your patience. Sorry about that. Alex did a good job. So yeah, and Jill was correct. As part of the second phase of the design, it is our intent to collaborate with Caltrans as we have for this other phase here, and then square up the on-ramps and the off-ramp on the eastbound Shield side.
Any other comments for either Jesus or Alex from our members? Any questions? We do have a couple of comments for the attendees, so we're going to get through those real quick. We'll start. I think I see Tony's hand up first, so let's start with Tony. Tony, real quick, because we still got some behind you as well.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Thank you, Alex and Jesus. Yeah, I see a bike lane on the north side, westbound, but I don't see any bike lane on the street parallel to the Class 1 trail. Isn't it standard to include a Class 2 bike lane in addition to a Class 1? That's my question. Thanks.
Thank you, Tony.
There is a bike lane that is running parallel to the trail. You might not be able to see it because of the size of the plans right now, but it does parallel on the north side. You don't see one on the south side at this point because we have not gotten into the design for the south side east of the Manchester entrance. But there is a westbound bike lane on the north side that runs from Shields Frontage Road or Howard east of the 41 all the way to Blackstone. And that'll be striped as part of this project, this phase that we're discussing right now.
I get it. I see it. Yeah.
So there is an eastbound from Blackstone to the east. There is a bike lane on there. I think I see something at the intersection.
He said it's not on here.
So, okay, so even from Blackstone to Manchester, is there a bike lane on the south or eastbound or no?
There's an existing one that ends right before the Manchester Center entrance, and you can kind of see it here, and it's existing on the east side of the north or the southbound on-ramp. But this will be modified with the second phase where we'll restripe the bike lane and have a Class 1 trail for the eastbound side.
Good clarification. Thank you. Any other questions for either Jesus or Alex before they head off? Cool. Well, thank you very much for sharing that with us. I'm glad we were able to get you in a little earlier as well.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, if we have any other questions, we'll let you know later on.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Alex, for covering that and coming in clutch. And then thank you, Phil, and Bpac members for allowing us to move up to the agenda. Appreciate it.
I'm sure this won't be the last time. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have other segments, and I'm sure you're going to have questions during construction. So, just, as always, we'll collaborate with Jill and try to keep everyone up to date.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. We're going to go to unscheduled communications now. That was next on our agenda after we got over these two that needed to go earlier in the meeting. If there's anyone in attendance that wants to talk about anything other than what's on the agenda already, you have 3 minutes. Raise your hand. Tony, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to make a request that that the Bpac agenda and the Zoom link be posted to social media. Somehow it kind of didn't get posted, and I did get a call from John Liu who needed the Zoom link here, so I just wanted to make that.
I thought I did see it. No, I thought I did see it on Facebook. Am I wrong? Did I not see it?
I don't know. But yeah, maybe.
I don't know if Scott or Jill or was that Matthew? I don't know.
It was Matthew.
I
Thank you,
posted
Matt.
it to mine, but
Oh, you
that's
posted
not,
it to yours. Okay.
yeah,
All right.
but that's not the same as the Facebook page.
Sure.
doing
No,
it.
you're right. You're right. Absolutely right.
Just-
Okay. I know I saw it somewhere. So, thank you, Tony. We don't have any other attendees with their hands held up, so we'll head over to our task force report. We'll just start going down the list here. Semi-annual report. I forget when we're going to do that again, like April, May, something like that. Right,
April,
Jill?
you said
Well, I'm sorry. What did I say?
April.
April. Okay. So yeah, we should probably get that formed. I would assume either next month or yeah, at the latest, because of the holidays, and that way we can get everybody can get started. Either at least meet once during that time, and then we start at the beginning of the year and have a couple of meetings, and then we're all set to go. So let's just start thinking about that. And again, I'm asking everyone to at least serve on that committee at least once. There's 8 of us or 7 of us, so we should all be able to do it a couple of times, once every other year or something like that. So so let's just start thinking about that. We'll get that one done in December. We'll start forming it in December or our next meeting. I don't know if we had anything, and I don't know if anybody from the budget task force has met or anything. Does anybody have any questions on that one? I don't remember what we did.
Phil, aren't you the chair of the budget task force?
I could be. I don't remember. That's really hard. Susan, we need like a rundown of who's all like involved in all these committees, if you have them. The next time maybe put out the minutes or something, or we can like just kind of like a little, huh?
I'll try and tally it up.
Yeah, see who's involved with all these committees or these little task force that we have. Some of them are obviously like the semi-annual one we don't have anybody on right now, but like for those other ones, maybe we can remember just when we put them in there, the names of them.
I think what would be helpful is if the task force meet, that they could provide like maybe a 1 page or a half a page summary of what.
Yeah, I know
that can include the members on that.
That's a very good idea. I know Laura did that with the charter one, with the members that were there and members that weren't there. I don't know if she did this last time, but that's a good habit to get into. If your task force is meeting, send it over, just so we all know what's happening. Thank you for that, Jill.
I'm looking at my notes from the last meeting, and we had some stuff that wasn't approved. So we have some potential money available, and we talked about using that for any events that were coming up, because we can't just do a blanket purchase of just, helmets just to have on hand. But if there was a particular event, and I have here in my notes that we were going to cut off any requests in April. So I don't know if anyone had any events that they want to, pitch for.
And weren't we going to do like a Facebook boost or something like that for one of our posts?
I think we talked about that as well, and so I can talk about that a little bit when we get to the PSA task force.
Sure. That's good. Okay. Let's go to.
Well, Phil, I wanted to help you out with the finance task force. That was you and Stephen and me.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
if anything happened, you should know. 'cause
I
you're
should know
hearing it.
exactly. I think I've been so caught up on our charter one that I totally forgot. So let's go to the charter one. I know Laura and I and Tony and Nick and Susan have all met. So a couple of times since our last meeting, right, Laura?
Yeah, I think we met 2 or 3 times since our last meeting. We have one meeting to go, and then we should have a draft. that
Yeah,
we
go
can share.
ahead and just update everybody on what's happening with that one.
So we'll have a draft to share. My question is, how do we share the draft? Do we send it around to all the BPAC members and staff? Do we present it in the meeting? What is the
Yeah, I would say once we get the draft, by the time we have the next meeting, we can always include it too in the agenda, so that way everybody gets it. I mean, you can send it out. I think it'd be okay for you to send it out in an email to everybody before the meeting as well, but make
Okay.
sure we also send it to Jill to put it on the agenda, to attach to the agenda. So whenever it's done, I would say, send it out to the members, and then make sure we send it to Jill before she posts the agenda. That way everybody has some opportunity to take a look, because my timeline on that is, and I think this is what we talked about, Laura, we'll have something to share in, whether that meeting's in late November, early December, whatever it is. And then we would finalize it with a vote in January. Was that our timeline?
You had said the task force might last up to 6 months. So
I just couldn't remember what we said in the meeting, Laura. Do you remember?
Well, we don't know yet exactly when exactly we're going to be done. We certainly aim to be done at our next meeting, but I see that you wanted to discuss the November and December meeting date.
Yeah.
Our next task force meeting is November 10th.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that we get it done as early as possible in the new year, just so we can start out as close as we can with a new, because remember, that has to get approved by the council, and they need, and I think Jill, to send it to council, needs at least a month in advance, right? Right, Jill?
Yeah, minimum.
Yeah,
month.
so if we can get done, whether it's next month or the month after, that way it can be done, and that'll be sent to council like February or March. And then I think that, I think we'll be good. So I think we should be pretty close to being done, though, I think, right, Laura?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think most people are in agreement
Yeah.
on most things.
Great. So hopefully we have something to share in either late November or December, whenever we do the next meeting.
Vision Zero has a report, by the way.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I was just writing something down, but go ahead, Matthew. That's fine.
Okay, so I'm going off of Destiny's notes that she took during our meeting a few weeks ago. So first thing we discussed was a project we thought was kind of cool. Gene Richards on Facebook, I don't know if some of you saw, like, he shared a post, an article on a project in the state of Tulsa, where the Bpac in Tulsa, Oklahoma, they set up a temporary demonstration project of what, according to that city's data, was one of the most dangerous intersections in their downtown. They put up like a demonstration of a temporary protected intersection. And Gene said that this is something that Bpac should be doing. And so we discussed on the task force, what it would take to get something like this going. And Jill responded, Tony brought up that the Sustainable Community Planning Grant has a deadline, and if it was possible to add something for funding in there. And Jill said that she might be able to weave in some outreach planning with regards to that within the application. just real quick, does that accurately summarizes that discussion, Jill?
Yes, on that, we are submitting for active transportation plan update, and I said that could be potentially some of the outreach or the engagement portion that the consultants do as part of that plan.
Okay, for the ATP.
For the
updates.
ATP update.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Finish up this real quick. We went back and forth on when the Vision Zero task. I mean, at one point, do we try to like bring a Vision Zero presentation to council? We decided it was premature. We're going to try to meet again with Jesse Minceroth one-on-one since he wasn't available this past time, and it's going to take a while. And we also kind of noted how it would have been good to try to have like something ready for the Traffic Victims Remembrance Day, which we've kind of missed, and there isn't enough time to get something together for that. So, I mean, that's unfortunate, but there's always next year.
When is that? What day is that? Or when is that?
I remember that being in October, but in Destiny's notes is listed as November 21st. And so I'm kind of scratching my head on that one. I'm a little confused. Anyway.
Well, look.
Oh,
Go
I
ahead.
was going to say, I think Joe has his hand up. I don't know, maybe he has a accurate date for that.
I think it's November. I think the reason why we didn't have enough time to do anything for it.
Look, I want to make sure that you guys get this done and done as right as possible. So take your time. I'd like to present something though, like a good portion of it to the council when we do our semi-annual report. Like I want them to know like this is like what we're focused on this time around. And again, I think a lot of the council members are supportive of it. And so while we might not have anything for them to vote on or anything like that, like let's have like an outline of like, hey, here's what's it's gonna look like. And we're trying to, you know, we can even have meetings with that. Hey, look, we're willing to have some meetings with you guys, but this is what we have so far. It's going to take a lot more work, but here's what we have. I think that would be really good because then it shows them that like we're actually like, you know, we're committed to this. So I think that's good. And again, you know, our deadline for that is April. So you guys take as much time as you need on that. I want to make sure we get it right.
Take your time, but have something to show for it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, take your time, but like let's make sure we have something to show for it in April. I mean, and then we can continue on from there with or without council engagement, right? So I don't see this being done anytime soon. So like let's cross all our I's and dot our T's on it. Yeah, go ahead, Joe, real quick before we move on to the next thing.
Thank you, Phil. Phil, the World Day of Remembrance Day will be on November the 21st. It will take place in cities across the globe, including the city of San Francisco. As you know, I'm a member of the Families for Safe Streets San Francisco chapter. So in San Francisco, there will be an event held on November 21st. I would encourage Bpac members to attend so that they can get ideas of what other California cities are doing. San Francisco specifically will have speakers. They will have victims, survivors of collisions, and of course they were pedestrians. Also, there will be like a candlelight vigil. There will be folks displaying banners. You'll have public speakers representing City Hall. Most likely it'll be the city, county supervisors, possibly even the mayor, London Breed, as well, will speak and support. Local media, of course, tends to show and and do a report out. I know last year the San Francisco Chronicle was out there. I did attend last year's event. Believe it or not, they actually interviewed me since I was the person who had traveled the farthest to attend. So I know, and I was just standing there. It's crazy. And last year they actually had shoes displayed on the steps of City Hall representing the pedestrians who had been killed over a period of 1 year, 5 years. I can't exactly remember the time period, but very visual. And then they had the family standing there with portraits of their loved ones as well. So it was very impactful, very powerful. It does take time, as you know, to plan something like that. What I'm recommending, if it's not even too late, is maybe there's an opportunity for some type of resolution on behalf of the Bpac, asking the council for a resolution recognizing that November 21st is World Remembrance Day. So
Sounds
perhaps-
like, I mean, I think that's completely fair, and something to do is to just engage, send it to the, whether it's a council president or somebody, we all just kind of send a letter. Hey, can we get a resolution? Whether I send it to every member, I can send it on behalf of us. And just send it all the way, send it to every member and the mayor. Hey, can we get a resolution for this?
Yeah,
I think that's completely doable.
perfect. Now that sounds great. So I'd be happy to report back the November 21st event and how that took place. And I would love for any of the BPAC members or members of the staff there, perhaps Scott or somebody would be willing to attend as well, just so that they can get an idea of what takes place during World Day of Remembrance.
Definitely. I'm looking at the calendar now, and it's a Sunday, so it's a weekend.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Maybe Matt, you can go with me.
definitely.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much, Joe. Anything else to report, Matt?
I'll say that pretty much covers it on my end. Yes.
Sounds good. PSA task force, Melanie. You got anything? We got anything new?
Yeah, basically two things. One, just wanted to let everyone know that I was able to work with Phil's wife, and she and her students translated the scripts for the first 3 PSAs into Spanish. We sent those over to Kyle at CMAC. Unfortunately, his Spanish speaker is out on COVID leave right now, but as soon as she gets back, they will go ahead and re-record them for us and put the subtitles in Spanish on the PSAs as well. They're only going to charge us, I think, another 3 hours of work, which I thought was very reasonable. So as soon as those are available, we'll share those out. So that was the first update. The second update was he just wanted to verify that there were no revisions or suggestions for the Hawk PSA. I think we sent it all out to you. It had all the kids walking across the crosswalk there. I thought it came out really nice. I didn't have any revisions. I told them I didn't think anyone else did because I didn't hear from anybody. So I just wanted to double check since we had the meeting tonight. If anyone has any revisions for the Hawks, you need to let me know now so I can send this to Kyle tomorrow. But otherwise, I told him if he didn't hear from me tomorrow to just go ahead and finish it up.
Thank you, Melanie. The one thing that I wanted to just bring up at this meeting, and we can either look, I know we have a lot of task force because we got a lot of things we got to do, and I don't want to add another one, but I do remember that we had talked about using Bike Month to give out our awards that we gave out last year. So what I'd like to do either at this meeting, if you guys want to do it, or you guys want to wait till next meeting, is to put together that task force, to put together some guidelines on nominations. It doesn't have to be anything really deep or anything like that. I'm just thinking something like, we can all nominate somebody or an organization, but the best thing is getting the council and the mayor involved in their nominations, right? Sending it out to the council, every council member and the mayor, saying, hey, May is going to be, Bike Month, and we're going to give out our awards. Whether we give them about a month or 2 lead time on it, so that would be February, we send it out and say, hey, can you get your nominations in by April 15th or something like that? It's tax day. I don't know why. That's probably why I probably remember April 15th. Because I like to vote on it in April, and then we give out the awards. We vote on it as a committee, and then we give it out in May. So we can either wait a month to form the task force. We can do it now. We wait till our next meeting, or we wait till January, just so that we have those guidelines real quick. That again, doesn't have to be anything too fancy or crazy. And then we review the nominees, and that task force reviews the nominees, dwindles it down to a couple, and we as a Bpac vote on who we are giving the awards out to that year. Any questions about that one? Or discussion? So are we cool with waiting another month, and then we'll start putting things together for the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. All right. So I just want to get that on everybody's radar, so that we know next month that we'll form that one. So everybody, whoever wants to be a part of that one, we can do that, and hopefully get something to council by February. That's it. Member reports, District 1, District 2. Any member reports real quick?
Okay, real quick.
Any announcements you want to make?
I'm usually more prepared. I do apologize. I don't believe I do, other than I spoke with Joshua Tahi with the Fresno B about a piece he wrote about someone who got hit in the crosswalk or around Blackstone and Clinton, and I noted to him that typically what happens in a lot of news articles like these is that there's never any stats included locally as far as how many people are getting hit or killed. I just let him know that if he wants to get data, he can come to our Bpac meetings, or he can email Officer Belli directly. I gave him his email address. I haven't checked to see if anything's come of that yet, but I reached out.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Matthew. Destiny, anything to report or anything to say?
Yes, so I did read about Miguel Aras, our council member, who is putting out a pedestrian safety pilot program to install speed bumps within the district. And it looks like it's going to be for 60 days. I have reached out to D3 staff so I can learn more, and I'll report more when I hear from them.
Yeah, I saw that in the news. I think we all probably saw that in the news. It was pretty cool. Thank you for that, Destiny. Let us know what you find out. If we can be a part, if they need our help with anything either as well, if they want some input, we're always here. If they want us to be a part of anything they're going to do.
Definitely.
I think I can add a little bit to that. So we've had a policy for 15, 20 years that we do not install speed bumps on roadways, new speed bumps. We will replace them if we are resurfacing a road or something, and they've already existed, but we don't put new ones in the public right away. And so that tomorrow, the proposal is to repeal that policy and to allow them in 60 days, staff will come back with a new policy on speed bump installations.
Great. Thank you, Jill. Laura, any news in your area?
Yes, I have a couple of events planned in the next couple of months. On November 6th, we are planning on giving out helmets at the Yeovil Garden in Southwest Fresno. Those helmets are donated by Bpac. And so it's part of our Transform Fresno project that we are still giving those out. If anybody is interested in volunteering to help, I know we've had some fun helmet give out opportunities. It's Saturday morning from 8 to 11 at the community garden there. So please let me know if.
Where is it going to be at?
Yeovil, it's a permaculture community garden off of Atchison, California and fruit area. It's close to where the new Southwest Fresno Trail is going in.
And what day is that?
It's a Saturday, November 6th.
Okay. And you're giving out bike helmets.
We're going to give out bike helmets, and we are actually also going to give out some bikes to the resident or to the users of the community garden as well. That we got through a collaboration with the Chowchilla Prison, and Edison High School is currently doing some last repairs on them. So it should be a good opportunity to reach out to the community there and connect with people on biking. And we've seen a lot of interest both in bikes and bicycle safety in that area as well. Then on December 9th, USGBC is hosting a webinar about safe access to parks. And we'll have Kiara Reed from Walk Sacramento that's going to talk about safe access to parks and retail. And Sheila Hakimi-Boer is going to talk about the Woodward Parks Coalition during this webinar. So I'll make sure to send you a link once we have that available.
Thank you, Laura.
Real quick, what was that date again?
That was December 9th. It's a Thursday at lunchtime.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Wonderful. District 5 not here. District 6, anything, Steve?
Two things. First of all, on the speed bump issue, I'm a little hesitant of that. When I was a kid, they put speed bumps on Sierra near my house, and all it did is sped the traffic up because everybody tries to go faster over it. If they went faster, they didn't feel the bumps at all. So it actually sped traffic up. So I think that's maybe why the city of Fresno kind of put a moratorium on. They had the actual opposite effect in my neighborhood when I was a kid. So. Second thing is just kind of on an off thing. I read an article by a Fresno Bee about comparing the bicycle trail on Herndon to the high-speed rail. That was a waste of money and would never be used. And so I kind of wrote him a little letter and gave him the what for, because he said like nobody ever uses it. I said, well, I use it all the time when I have a bike. I know lots of other people use it all the time. It's a great way to get across town safely. And so he actually sent me a long letter back apologizing that maybe he misspoke about how well used that is. And I told him, you shouldn't put down any infrastructure the city builds. I mean, I grew up in the city, and bike infrastructure until just like the last 10 or 15 years was never really a high priority. And now it's becoming a high priority. We're building trails. It takes time, but you should be putting down the city for doing something.
Way to engage with your constituents there, Steve.
Yeah. So that's about it. That's all I have right
now. Susan, your turn.
Well, I talked with Nelson Esparza, but it was on redistricting because my husband and I are involved in the redistricting process. So no bikes, just we are the smallest populated district, and we're going to be seeing some different lines drawn in our area. So hopefully I get to stay 7.
No, you'll be fine. You'll be good. Melanie, anything from you?
Nothing from me today. Thank you.
Okay. And all I had to talk about was that task force. I just want to make sure. So let's go to you though, Melanie, for your CalWalks Bike Ambassador Program.
So a while back, Tony had sent some information from CalWalks about their Bike Ambassador Program, and I finally had a chance to follow up with them. So I met with Miha and Caro from CalWalks, and they kind of told me about their Bike Ambassador Program that they did down in Southern California. Let me share my screen that kind of gives some information. Come on. That gives some information about how that program worked. It was down in Imperial, San Bernardino, and Ventura counties. And they basically put out an application process to anyone to be a part of this ambassador program where they would get several hours of training on bike and pedestrian assessments, on, you can see here how to conduct the assessments, how to create and support community efforts, et cetera, et cetera. Then they were going to get $500. They would be paid $500 for doing all of this training. And then they would be able to actually implement a program or project for doing this. They would get the money for doing a project. So some of the projects could include some of the things you see here. They had really big success. They had, I forgot how many, I want to say maybe 20 ambassadors, I think, that were trained ultimately, with some really nice outcomes. And so basically they're looking for the next county to partner with to do this ambassador program again. Let me see the timeline again. I have it here. So we have between October, around this time to decide, you know, they're going to try and pick a county to partner with. They were talking to us. They were talking to, I think, the San Joaquin County. In November and December, we would identify what the program goals would look like, what the focus area would be. And then in January, we would review that and then apply for it. So the application doesn't even happen until next year. So there's still some time. I told them it was good timing because we were looking to hire an ATP coordinator, and this would be a really good project for that ATP coordinator to kind of initiate and work with in the city of Fresno. Simultaneously, I was putting on my county hat because I run physical activity programs to the county, and I thought about other communities in Fresno County. Fowler has been very active in doing some stuff out there, so that they might be considered to do a project too. I mean, we could do several ambassadors throughout the county if we wanted to. So I just kind of wanted to circle back with everyone to let them know that this program was possibly available. If anyone had any, you know, strong opinions one way or the other, if you all feel like, yeah, we should really go for it, I can reach out to them again and let them know we're interested. I know we don't have our ATP coordinator on yet, and maybe Jill can give an update on that. But, and I certainly don't want to throw Jill any more work either. So I don't know who would kind of spearhead this locally, but again, just a really good program with really great outcomes. Again, in my county programs, we train champions. So we train community members to be advocates for themselves and their communities. And this is kind of a similar program where we're training them to be ambassadors for pedestrian and bike issues. And I think it would look really, really great for City of Fresno to do something like this.
What do you need from Bpac on this? Anything?
Just if you guys think that we should go for it. I mean, if you guys think it's a good, a worthy project, I don't know if we need to vote for it. I don't know. I mean, and again, if we go for it, who at the city would be kind of taking the reins on it? It's not necessarily us. Someone at the city would have to kind of partner with them, or I guess we could. But I mean, again, we can barely keep our task force together, so I don't know if we can coordinate, you know, actually doing a whole ambassador program. Maybe Jill can speak a little bit to what the timeline looks like for the ATP coordinator, because I think this would be a perfect project for them. I see Laura has her hand up.
Yeah, it sounds like a great program. Thank you for bringing that to everybody's attention. And I don't think that Bpac can lead this, but I would be very much in support to ask the city to apply for this grant. And certainly, yeah, with the ATP coordinator, that would be the right contact person, hopefully. Yeah, I look forward to Jill's update on this.
And it's a kind of a joint application too. So it's not necessarily just the city applying. CalWalks would be like a co-applicant. I believe that's how it works. Or actually they might be the applicant to apply for it, and then they would work with us as the county partner to actually implement the program, but they would be like the fiscal agent and everything like that, which is helpful, but we still need somebody, you know, boots on the ground to do recruitment and such. So yeah, if Jill wants to update on that, that would be cool.
You want me to do it now?
Might as well.
Okay. We have one applicant. That's it. I think I told you 3 before, but we just have one. So it's still open. We're not getting any interest in it. So I don't have much else to say.
Okay, and that was what you told us a couple of weeks ago at our agenda meeting, right? That was the same update.
Same update.
Okay.
So when you say one applicant, that's like one qualified applicant?
One qualified applicant that met the minimum qualifications for the position.
Sad.
Well, that's a bit of a bummer.
Okay, where has it been shared?
just so you know, and I, Scott brought this up to us on our meeting is that right now it's I think even Scott said, like, for some of their other positions, it's just slow. Right now it's really, people aren't hiring, or people aren't applying to jobs.
No, people are hiring. We're just not getting
Yeah,
applicants.
they're not getting the applicant. Yeah, people are hiring, but
applicants.
they're just not coming fast enough, or there's enough qualified ones coming in. So it's not only it's not only just the position. It's not just the position's not, as bad. It's just that no one is filling any spots pretty much anywhere. So it might be a process.
So if I were to follow back up with CalWalks and say we were interested, I mean, again, I don't want to throw Jill more work. Who could they work with at the city in partnership with this? Or do we really need like a Bpac member or two to step up and kind of take the lead on it?
Yeah, I don't know too much about the program and what's involved. I mean, I think we'd have to evaluate it and see if it's something that we could handle. I don't have the capacity to do it. My staff, we are, not only can we not hire people, but we have people leaving left and right. So we don't have the capacity to do it. We did get a new grant writer. She started on Monday, but it's going to be tied up with grant applications. So I don't know. We'd have to look into it and see. It may be that it is a Bpac member. I don't have an answer right now.
Okay, let me just reach out and just see kind of what the commitment is in terms of staff labor, time and stuff. And then if I can get a more definitive answer and then share that back with you all to see whether or not we've got capacity to do this. Maybe we have to pass this year and try again next year, but I'll follow up and then circle back with everyone.
Can the ATP job application link be shared with everybody?
It can, yeah. It's on our personnel page. I think I sent it out when it was posted. It's still the same link, but I can resend it out again.
I sent it to CalWalks too, and I said, hey, share this, statewide, and they were very happy to share it. And I was hoping that maybe by doing that we would get more applicants, but I guess not, unfortunately. I'll let them know it's still open, and maybe they can send it out again.
Tony's hand is up too.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Jill, did you want to put the link in the comments here, or is that what you wanted, Laura? The link in the comments right now, or just send it?
I think per email would be great.
Okay, all right.
Or just retweet it on the Bpac Facebook page again.
Yeah.
I've got another one. So do any of you read Streets blog? Streets blog?
I don't think so.
I don't know. They're a place that posts news articles and stuff like that about walking, biking, and stuff like that. Tony shared me some articles from there. They have a job posting page. I can try to share it there.
Look, Look, I think everyone should be able to. It's a posting on online, so you could just copy the link and post it wherever you want. I think that's the best way to get it out right now. Besides the city just putting it on their page, I don't know if they go to any other, third parties like ZipRecruiter or or LinkedIn or wherever else, So yeah, if we want it filled as well, we can try to share it with whatever networking we have. Now I think we can get to Tony now. Go ahead, Tony, quick.
Yes, two things. One question for Jill. I had suggested maybe sharing with ABBP, the bike ped professionals. So I didn't know if that had been able to be shared with them or not. My other question was, I had actually gotten some feedback that there was some wondering whether the salary was competitive for the type of folks that we would be likely to apply for it there too. So I didn't know if we're only getting one qualified applicant, if that's
Yeah, I don't remember what we put in the job description. If the city of Fresno HR, whoever does the job postings, they took our advice on that in terms of, I can't remember what we even
I thought
said.
it was pretty competitive to me.
What was it
anyway.
again? What did we ask?
It was in the 60s, I want to say. Maybe it was
remember.
high. It was
So
in
I don't know if it's still posted that way or not, but again, it could just be literally an issue where they're just, people aren't applying to any jobs, not just ours, just anyone.
Any luck with BP, Jill?
I don't know where it's been posted or shared.
Okay.
I mean, again, Tony, you just take the link and share it with whomever.
Okay, yeah, I could.
It's a live link, so.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know if
Yeah.
if we could do it that way or not, whether they require official share for that, but.
No, you feel free to share it with anybody
Whomever, yeah.
like that may or may not be interested. The salary range starts at $4,086 a month, and the high end is $6,323 a month. So that's 75, almost 76 on the high end, and
Yeah,
49 start.
I talked to one of the planners and he said he couldn't afford to take a pay cut to apply for it. So, all right, thanks.
Again,
you're going to share the link with everybody, or is that?
I think she's just going to email it to members, and then they can send it off to you, Tony.
Okay, great, thanks.
All right, so we killed those two birds with one stone in a sense. The attachment for the work plan was also put on the agenda, so everybody had a chance to see the updated work plan. Again, if you have any questions, comments, like the Midtown Trail thing, let us know. Let Jill know ahead of time. Let us know in a request, and Jill will do her best to get someone out here to talk about that work plan. I think Nick has a question about the work plan. Any members first have any questions about the work plan?
Did you skip your November, December meeting update?
Oh shit, you're right. Absolutely. It's my fault. I gotta remember this is being recorded. I shouldn't have. Yes, let's do that. Let's get back to that. Okay, so before we go to the work plan, let's talk about the next meeting. Obviously, it's not going to happen in November at all. So we have some dates. We have the 1st, the 8th, and I'm assuming we don't want to go past the 8th. The 15th, maybe, if we wanted to push it. There's no reason we can't have it not on a Wednesday. Obviously, we can always change that one around. I believe, right, Jill? Can we move it if we needed to? We don't have to have it on the Wednesday. But those are the Wednesdays in December. Does anybody have an issue or prefer one day over the next one in December?
I'm okay with the 8th. The later in the month it gets busier.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, then, yeah.
8th.
8th can work for me.
Okay, well, let's do this because we have to vote on this. Why doesn't somebody make a motion to move or to have our next BPAC meeting? We move it from the 24th of November to December the 8th at the same time, 5:30. Who wants to make that motion?
And that would be the only December meeting then, right? There's not a December.
Correct. Yeah, that's it. And then we start up again in January.
So I'll motion to move the November 24th meeting to December 8th at the same time.
Okay, thank you for that motion, Melanie. Who would like to second that motion?
I'll second that.
Any discussion since I didn't hear from Destiny or Laura, so I'm assuming they're okay with it.
I'm good with it.
Okay. And Laura,
Yeah,
you're okay with it? I can't remember if you were going to be here or not.
Yes, that works for me.
Okay. All right, then we got a first, we got a second. Who does not want to do it on the 8th? All right, that's easier than saying who wants to do it. Okay, so it looks like we're gonna move our November 24th meeting to December the 8th at 5:30. Yay. Perfect. Back to the work plan, and if no one has any questions for Jill on the work plan or members.
do.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Susan.
Well, again, on the Midtown Trail, I saw where it was supposed to be awarded for that section from Fresno Street to First Street. And it said summer 2021. So I was just wondering if a construction award had been granted or.
Andy or Scott, do you know on that? We should have asked Jesus or Alex when they were here. I don't.
You know, I know at least one phase, maybe two phases of the project have been awarded. I don't think it's that phase. I remember there's some right-of-way issues on that phase from goes from Shields to Clinton, I believe. But the other phases have been awarded. I think maybe Scott knows either one or two phases.
2 and 5
project.
have been awarded.
And that's
so the Fresno to First Street, and then the McKinley along Clovis Avenue to Dayton or to Dakota, right? For Shields. Anyway, 2 and 5, segments 2 and 5.
Segments 2 and 5. And then on that First Street cycle track, which part of First Street is that on?
That is Ventura
Okay,
to
that's
Hazelwood.
Any other questions from members about the on the work plan? Again, if you want more detailed analysis or in-depth view, just let her know and put in a request in before. We'll get someone to answer, do a little update on it. We'll go to Nick now. Thanks, Nick. Unmute yourself, Nick.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, one real quick one. Joe maybe an answer during the meeting regards the North Avenue operational plan line. Do you happen to know off the top of your head what the limits are from where to where, Joe?
The North Avenue plan lines. We had the community meeting 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's the 12th of October. You had a community meeting.
Oh, Andy, what were those limits? It's west of 41, correct?
I don't remember the limits either.
Yeah.
I think it's approximately from Highway 41 to the city limits.
Highway 41 to the Elm Avenue, basically Elm Avenue west of the city limits.
Right. That sounds about right.
My other questions I could put in an email and simply send to you, Jill, since you probably not prepared to answer anything. I have some other questions. I just put them in an email and send them to you. And then you can, either send an email back to me or address them to the next Bpac, however you want to handle it. Okay, so Elm Avenue, but you're only going to the city limits and not to the SOI, correct?
Need to look at it. It may go a little bit past the city limits, but I don't know if it goes to the sphere.
Yeah, it seems to me to make more sense that you go to the sphere. But once again, that's your in-house call.
Let me see here if I can figure it out real quick for you. So between Marks and Elm. Marks and Elm are the limits for this OPL.
Nick's already off, but I'm sure he's hearing you. Any other questions regarding the work plan for Jill? Jill, you want to talk? Well, we got everything else. Do you want to talk about your raised cycle tracks?
Yep, so we just wanted to get some thoughts and comments on some infrastructure that we've kind of been looking at and tossing around. We know we've been installing some class 4s throughout the city, and we've been using the flexible posts. We have a lot of areas where we don't have the roads built, and there's opportunity to do a different type of class 4 protected bikeway. And wanted to get your opinion on what this looks like. So I'm going to show you some pictures from Fremont, California. This is Walnut and Civic Square, or Civic Center is the intersection. Let's see here. Can you guys see my map? See the aerial, or what are you seeing?
Yes.
Okay. So this one, this is a protected bike facility that, you know, doesn't have the vertical element is the curb. So it's basically, it bumps out the sidewalk area, the curb line, and puts the cycle track next to the sidewalk. Kind of looks like a trail, but it's not. So something that we're thinking about in areas, like I said, where we don't have the roads built out yet, or where we will have new roads. Think the Sega or Seda area on the southeast part of the city. There may be opportunities for this on the west side where we don't have some of the roads built, but just wanted to get some thoughts and dialogue on what you guys think of this type of facility versus what we are building already with the flexible posts.
I mean, my personal opinion is the more the merrier, right? The better, the more that we have protected, whether pedestrian facilities or bike facilities, the better. I don't think you can have enough. So that, I mean, that's at least my take on it. And if this is one way to do that without and it would be without the existing road, right? Like you're saying, it's going to be built next, right? It's going to be put in before the actual road's finished, right? Is that what you're saying?
No, it would be put in as the road is being finished, as the road is being built. So we have lots of roads that either don't exist yet, or you know, may not be built out to their ultimate. Maybe just think a little county road type of thing. And so as we look at building those facilities out, is this something that you know, we would be interested in? This one does not have parking, but it still has the buffer. A road could easily have parking on the other side of that buffer also. This could be a 1-lane road with parking, a buffer, and this bumped out curb bike facility.
And would there be a sidewalk like in this one as well?
Yep, it'd still be separate for pedestrians, you know, with the sidewalk and then the bike facility next to it.
Does the trail start there at that driveway? Like that's where it becomes protected? But before that, or?
Nope, you can see it. It's all the way. I mean, it's quite a ways, intersection to intersection, at least. I'm not sure where it.
I like it.
I see the bus stop.
I think my concern is, you know, with the post, like it's really clear for cyclists, like you ride on the other side of the post. I feel like on here, you still kind of see there's a room on the road for, even though it's wide, there's lines, I could see a cyclist still trying to ride on that part. Instead of riding actually on the bike lane, right? That's my only concern, but otherwise I like it. I think it's nice. It also kind of widens the sidewalk for when there's not bike traffic. So I just worry that a cyclist who doesn't know to get up on the curb, right? Because that's not usually the case. They might just try to ride on that little strip, and that's kind of dangerous there. But other than that,
Look, I like trying new things if it's a possibility and if it's, safe. Which it doesn't seem like it's not safe. So
And it's well marked with the green paint to keep people where they're supposed to be.
So here's another intersection down from it. So it actually has the posts, different posts than what we're using, but similar concept. And it comes up into the intersection. And they actually goes right into like a curb ramp almost for the bicyclist to get into the this area. So
yeah, and it looks like it's protected in all 4 directions up there.
Going back to the raised cycle track, is there a possibility maybe like that white dash space could instead be like planters or something like that? I mean, I get that would probably raise the cost of it, or maybe would Public Works be open to the possibility of like, I don't know, I mean, if they can't afford to put a tree in or maybe grass, would they be willing to put in like temporary planters or something like that? So like,
so
I mean,
so people
I get the sorry, go ahead.
So that people wouldn't ride, right?
Right, and also so maybe I know that like being on the sidewalk is kind of the vertical element in this case, but I mean, yet there isn't like a vertical barrier that like goes high enough, so that goes alongside the bike as someone's riding on it. It's like someone could jump the curb. I mean, or at least you would get the feeling that could happen. I'm trying to describe this very quickly, but I mean, it's great that it's raised, but would Public Works be open to the possibility of like having like either temporary or permanent raised elements, like in this case, I don't know, like
or just a post, right?
Or just a post, yeah.
A post would be less maintenance, maybe, because I always think with planters, that's a lot of maintenance. You have irrigation and everything.
And in this situation, if this, depending on, the type of road, there could be parking here. That could be the vertical element.
Yeah. Again, well, we don't know where this is going to be in the city, right? Like,
oh yeah, no. This is just discussion. This is not. We have no standards for this. This is just another idea for a type of facility and something that we've kind of been, looking at. I've seen it in different places. I found one. I couldn't find the screenshots or aerials for it, but in Somerville, Massachusetts, they've got some really nice looking facilities that are similar to this. And we're just thinking out loud and trying to see what, you guys as users would think of it, or what you like about it, what you don't like about it, just to get some ideas.
Well, I grew up in a city that had a bunch of those facilities, and it really increased safety. It in the case of my hometown, increased connectivity, and I think I would be in big support of the city of Fresno looking into integrating more of those.
Especially if it's going to be, depending on what area, you always, you want to, something like this seems like it would encourage bike riding, right? Because you're not on the street.
Oh yeah, it helps feel much more safe on the bike. So yeah, I think it would encourage bike riding.
It could give parents a little bit of peace of mind too, because smaller kids on bikes, they'll just hit that little curb and bounce right back into the lane. They're not going to go out into traffic easily.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking there, Stephen. I was thinking like gives parents some peace of mind about that. So look, I think good things or new things are good for the city, and
especially since it's going to be built from the ground up, so it's going to be designed to operate. It's not going to be an add-on. So
yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of an important piece of it. It might be a whole lot easier, when it's brand new. This would be pretty difficult to go in on an existing street and already, a street that's already existing and try to add this into the mix.
Yeah.
And it's, as far as vertical element, I mean, you think that this part right here usually is a planter strip, and this is the sidewalk. So you're already walking on these type of facilities right now. That's the same, it's the same amount of barrier or protection as a sidewalk for somebody walking.
Yep, I think it's good.
Okay, Scott, Andy, do you have anything you want to add or say?
Just that we are finding that the posts and the class 4 bike lanes are difficult to implement. Just a couple of the issues. One is trying to street sweep around the posts. It's just an area where we get a lot of debris, and we really don't have equipment that we can clean them. The other issue we've found is the parking. We typically, because we need line of sight at the driveways and at the intersections, we put in, we designate the parking with a T or some other way that shows, hey, here's where you're supposed to park. But when you use that type of parking, it also triggers a requirement to provide ADA parking stall. You're going to have regular parking that's not designated. You don't necessarily have to address the ADA issue. But once you say, 6 cars can park in this space, and there's a little T mark showing where each car should be, kind of triggers the need for ADA parking, which also means that as that van parks there and unloads on the passenger side, they unload into the bike lane. And on top of that, they need a ramp so that they can get up to the sidewalk area. So it makes it expensive to add that, and it also is not ideal. And trying to identify where that ADA parking might be located and where would be a good spot for a ramp is also difficult. So we're finding that the class 4, especially with the on-street parking, is pretty difficult to implement. And this eliminates a lot of those problems. You don't have, even if you had parking, you wouldn't have the ADA issue. You also don't have the post to try to clean around. And this particular road that we're seeing here was a retrofit. The road was there first. They came back just recently, like 2-3 years ago, and implemented this class 4. On a brand new road, you really have a lot more options to do something nice. So typically you would have some sort of a planter element between the bike lane and the sidewalk, and you have them well marked so people know we don't want pedestrians in the bike lane, and we don't want bikes on the sidewalk. So you'd have them well marked so that, and possibly even marked in such a way that if we had people who didn't follow the rules, they could be cited. If we had enough police to really do that. But anyway, we would be looking at this in newer neighborhoods more so than retrofits.
Makes sense. Anyone else? Or I don't know if Scott had anything to say as well.
I have a quick question. How many times have you guys had to replace those cylindrical vertical delineators from cars ripping them off by hitting them?
I don't know. I was thinking about that the other day. I need to check and see what we've done.
We haven't probably replaced any. That doesn't mean some could be broken. They're spring loaded. And
favorite thing I remember from my childhood is Fire Station 13. They had the open in the medium, and they had those delineators there that were supposed to fold down and snap right back up as soon as the fire engine went over them. Well, the first time the fire engine went over them, snapped them all off. So, so now there's no delineators there at all, of course. They just have the painted keep clear area now. But I just remember that those were supposed to be so trick and neat that they would just fold right back up, and they broke off the first time the fire engine went over.
I'm sure ours are spring loaded, but that doesn't mean that they won't break off. I mean, they're glued down. So if the asphalt's a little bit loose, they'll just pull up a whole chunk of asphalt.
So I think what is bad is that the posts snap in half. So you, instead of having, say, a 4-foot post, now you have a 2-foot post with jagged edges on the top. So
Quick note, since we're talking about flexible posts randomly. Yesterday I was driving to work and coming on our street where you have the protected bike path there was like a semi truck that was trying to back in to a business, and they were blocking up our street, and I kept seeing how he was maneuvering, and I was just like, oh my gosh, is he gonna break the bollards? Just frantically worried about that. But they didn't. I mean, and then so thankfully he didn't. So, but hope that doesn't happen.
Well, I thought you're bringing up certainly a lot of very valid concerns, and very, very realistic concerns. But I just want to acknowledge that they all come from a very car-centric position and not a very human-centric position of using the road as active transportation user. So I think that while the parking concern it is an important, it is certainly something, to consider. The overarching goal, I think, in general, is to get more people out of the car and into alternatives mode of transportation, whether that is active transportation or also car sharing. And I think that has to be a little bit part of the discussion as we are looking at new options. I mean, the delineators, that certainly is coming, from Public Works. And if this is not the right solution, I would hope that you guys are engaging in a conversation on what would be a better solution while continuing to work towards safer streets for bicyclists and pedestrians to get to this overarching goal. So just wanting to bring up that maybe we have to change our discussion on this every once in a while as well, to acknowledge just the different form of perspective. And I understand that we are a car-centric city, but we're trying to be a little bit less so, right?
And Laura, I agree with you. I think, there's really needs to be a mind shift, and we talk about that all the time. I think what Andy was talking about is just kind of the reality of kind of how difficult some of these projects are. It seems like it's really easy to go out there and slap some posts down, but these are hard projects. And it's not that we don't want to do them. We want to do them good. We don't want to do them right. We want to do them exactly how you're talking, so that we get people out of their cars and get people riding their bikes and walking. But they're proving to be very hard.
Yeah.
All the legislation is all focused on rules about rights of the cars, not about bicycles and stuff. So they have to, any project they try to do, they have to meet all these different mileposts that have to be met by law.
Yeah, no, I get that. I was wondering if there's like a potential to do like a pilot project where you just compare these different delineators. You have different forms that you're implementing so that you can, maintain them for a couple of years and get some experience and come up with what works best for you.
Well, I think the answer to that is yes. We've done a couple of class 4s and we are evaluating how they work out. I know the Maple class 4 is getting a lot of use. It's right by the college. It might even get more if it wasn't for some people doing home studying because of COVID. But we also got a lot of complaints from the homeowners. We had to eliminate quite a bit of parking, and it is an area that a lot of students park in. There's apartments there and people that go to the college. So I mean, it's probably a very high pedestrian area. When I've been out there, I not only see people on bikes, but I see skateboards and all those scooters. Whatever the students are using, they're in that bike lane. So I think from that standpoint, it's been a successful project. But we also had some challenges. We don't know how the delineators will hold up. We'll see. But we do know that we got some complaints in there. Not a whole, well, we had one guy really mad, and then a couple of other people kind of mad. But I haven't heard from them lately.
Well, if it's just a few, I'm sure that's that's not the majority. So that's usually what happens. But
I don't know if you can see the screen. Since I have the shared, but we've got 3 hands up too in the.
Oh, I can't
in the
see.
public.
I
Okay.
can't.
Do you want me to? So I think Nick was first.
Okay, yeah.
Then Tony.
I guess if I went like this, I could probably see it. Yeah. Well, let's go with. Should we? I mean, do you think Nick was? I'm just going to go down the line. I see Tony, Nick, and then Nabil.
Yeah, Nick was first, then Tony, and then Nabil.
Okay, let's go real quick, Nick.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, when it comes to cycle tracks, I have a hard time being quick.
Well, we still got some. Jill's still got to go
Okay.
over something else as well.
Now, I'm not referring to this picture here. I'm referring to the initial picture where you did not have this line of trees separating the cycle track from the sidewalk, where you had the cycle track immediately adjacent to the sidewalk. I have concerns about this. Referring to Caltrans Design Information Bulletin number 89, this raised cycle track is normally at a mid-level between the pavement, the street level, and the sidewalk. My question here is that the case? Is your cycle track midway between the pavement level and the sidewalk? In other words, you already have separation. Are you in accordance? Would you be in accordance with DIB 89? And this is one. What happens here? It looks like you're proposing to eliminate on-street bike lanes, because that's not a bike lane. I mean, that's too narrow for a bike lane. I wouldn't even bicycle in that.
Yeah,
So
that's what it is, Nick. I mean,
that's not a bike lane.
Yeah,
No,
this
no,
is
no, no.
retrofitted. This isn't built from scratch.
Yeah, and so
But that striped area, because diagonal stripes is not a bike lane.
yeah, that's a
Yeah, I
bike
know.
lane.
That's
And
what
I think, Nick, you have valid points, and I think that's why the retrofit is hard.
Yeah, and
If it was a brand new build, we could you have that separation. We could have the bike lane. This project, I don't know anything about this project other than the picture.
it was.
But
This
it's
is just an idea, Nick.
Yeah,
This was
no,
just-
the thing of it is, a raised cycle track needs to be vertically separated from both the street pavement and the adjacent sidewalk. Otherwise, we're going to have pedestrians on the cycle track and bicyclists on the sidewalk. That's the reason why you have to have separate. Also, right now, that shows that cycle track as one way. And if you're going to do this and not have bike lanes in the street, you need to have the facility on both sides. It appears that they do have on both sides. So if you're going to discourage on-street bicycling, which of course makes me unhappy, if you're going to discourage on-street cycling, you need to have one-way facilities on both sides of the street.
Yeah, again, I think this is just she's just bringing us the idea. Like this is.
And Rachel, she's bringing us the idea and wants comments.
Yeah.
And so I'm giving some comments, and my comments, unlike everybody else's who seem to be jumping up and down for joy, I'm giving, hey, I have concerns. I have some reservations. And I'm expressing, that there are other things to consider. And I want to make certain that you design this raised cycle track so you discourage pedestrians from walking on the cycle track and bicyclists from being in the sidewalk.
Yeah, and I think that's totally valid, Nick. And when they get to that point, you know, they can always come back to us and ask for those recommendations as well.
Nick, like this? Do you like that? With the tree, the row of bushes and the trees?
Because the other side is the
between
sidewalk.
the sidewalk and the bike.
Yeah, you need some sort of separation.
Yeah.
And then, of course, once again, my point I've harped on again and again is even though it's one way, it needs to be 7 feet wide. It needs to be 7 feet wide to allow for passing. Because once again, you're discouraged. You want to kick the bicyclists off the road. You do not like people like me who are comfortable bicycling on the road. You want to get people like me off the road onto separated facilities. You're going to have to allow room for passing, especially since you might have people hauling children in trailers or cargo trailers or trikes. So you better have those things 7 feet wide.
Thank you, Nick. We got a couple more people who want to talk about it. So we're going to go to Tony and then Nabil. Tony, real quick.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I also shared Nick's concern about the lack of a class 2 type of on-street thing. It seemed like you'd have to make the sidewalk, the cycle track wider instead of putting a buffer in to get the 7 feet there. Maybe that would require more construction, obviously. But I do like the fact that it would be kind of suitable for all ages and abilities, which is kind of one of the ideas of cycle tracks. The other advantage of having the raised cycle track like that and not having the parking is the sightline advantage. And I noticed that when Nick and I actually went down and looked at Maple with the parking protected cycle track, it's sometimes difficult to see for the cyclist to see out in the street through the cars if there's cars parked there. And I think this has an advantage as far as being able to see the cyclists and for the cyclists to see cars. So I would prefer this to the parking protected versions that we have. And I also kind of do share Matthew's concern about jumping the curb. I don't know if you guys saw it or not today, but we did have a car take out 2 mailboxes, a street light, and a fence on Audubon from a impaired driver that went off the curb. So I could see some potential issues in terms of concern about curb jumping. So anyway, thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. Nabil.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Nabil with Councilmember Maxwell's office, District 4. My ears kind of perked up when you mentioned the Class 4 bike lane on Maple. Obviously, we're very interested in this bike lane. I think Andrew or someone said that it's been getting a lot of use, and I'd just be curious to know how many people are using it, or do you know how useful has this bike lane been to the residents?
I think he was talking about the one by City College. Oh, no, you were talking about the one
by Fresno State.
By Fresno State, that's right. Andy, right?
That's correct. It's on Maple and between Shaw and Gettysburg. If you haven't been over there, it gets a lot of use. The times I've been over there, it's mostly students. I'm going back and forth to the campus.
Nabil, go ahead. Do you want to say something else?
Right. No, thank you. I was just curious if you had any particular data about usage rather than, but anecdotal is good too. Thank you.
Yeah, right now it's all anecdotal. We have not collected any before and after data yet. We will do that at some point. I believe that's part of the funding requirements, if I remember correctly, right, Scott? that there's a before and after kind of?
Yeah, when we do the ATP reporting, the closeout phase, we will have to provide the accounts after construction.
Got it. Well, if once you get that, please share with our office. We'd be happy to take a look at it. Thank you.
Jill, and you have one more thing to show, right?
Yeah, I think I attached the link to the agenda. If you've had a chance to look at the document that was there, it was a study that, gosh, I don't even remember it right now, and I'm drawing a blank. Was done on the west side. Where's Laura? She knows what I'm talking about. It was a virtual kind of walk audit with a group of residents on the west side and different members there was staff from the city of Fresno, public health department, different organizations that participated in it. And we basically virtually walked the areas and identified, what doesn't work. And the group then California Walks, Berkeley Safe Track, and I think it was an OTS grant put together the document that was attached to the agenda. And so I thought I would share that with everybody. It was put out for the public to use.
It was the CPVST, right?
Yes. Yep. So that was, I just wanted to mention it. And, if you've reviewed it or had a chance to read through it, it was on the agenda, attached to the agenda. So if there's questions tonight or comments or.
Yeah, Gavin put the link in the chat for everybody to see.
Thanks, Gavin.
If you want to check it out, but well, he put the link to the agenda at least. And see the link to the thing. Anyone have any questions or comments for Jill or Laura? Do you want to say anything on it?
Well, yeah, for me, while I'm generally a supporter of virtual offerings, I think this exercise proved to me that an in-person walk audit is much more helpful. I felt that we included too many projects and the group was like pulled apart too early. And we were not really able to get meaningful community input, I felt like, because community people were just not present. We had a gentleman at the Bpac meeting I think 2 months ago, that brought up so many good points about an area that was assessed. And I just felt like the depths, we were not able to get to the level of solution finding that we could have had in an in-person walk audit. And since there are so many issues in that area, I feel like it would have deserved a little bit more outreach. I've attended a walk audit before in Fowler with California Walks, and I felt like that was much more helpful because it was in person and it really brought the community and the city together. And with this project, we covered a lot of ground, but I don't think that the outcome was quite as effective. And correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, the MLK California portal issue, there's still so many things that have not been discussed with those that are most affected by it, as far as I can see. So while generally it was a good exercise to bring in all of the agencies together, we could have been more effective in person.
Yeah, there definitely is something to getting out there and standing on that corner or walking down the sidewalk or being in the thick of it that you just don't get from doing a Google Drive virtual.
The walk that we did around Woodward Park and Audubon, I think, was very constructive. It was nice because people see things differently than I did. There were some things that they pointed out that I didn't see it in that way, but once they explained why they saw it that way, then I saw how they saw it, why they saw it. So I think in person is definitely seems more effective to me.
What rules specifically were there saying that this event couldn't have been in person?
Was it COVID restrictions?
No, I don't remember. I think when the project actually started, it was, I mean, it's been months ago. So at least in the beginning, there was probably some restrictions. I don't know if towards the end, if there couldn't have been some concessions to having it in person. I don't know what, I'm not familiar with what the funds required or anything like that. But I think in the beginning, it might have been valid to have it online, but to Laura's point, I think it would have been more effective to be out there.
If my team was involved, well, I'm pretty sure they were involved. They likely were advocating for virtual event because the health department is still discouraging gatherings. So it could have been my team that was requesting that as well.
Good job, Melanie. Way to go.
Yeah, and
It's all Melanie's fault.
Cancel Christmas, everybody.
It is. We're gonna blame you for Christmas being canceled.
This was, I don't remember when it started, but I want to say it was, the end of the winter into the spring. So, it wasn't last month that this happened.
Sure.
It's been a few months. So.
Well, I mean, in that case, then yeah, probably. I mean, it wasn't good at that part. So.
Well, the actual walk audit was in the middle of the summer at 4 p.m. I think it was like 110-degree day.
Oh, well, there you go.
So,
and
there you go.
And it was probably bad air quality too with the fires.
It was before the fires. Fires, but yes, it was very hot. So at that point, at that time, we couldn't have offered it in person, certainly.
Sure.
But I think they offered this grant this year only as a virtual option. They didn't even, plan for any travel.
Yeah.
I think Tony has a question.
Oh, I know. I can't see the thing. All right, go ahead, Tony. Last comment.
Yes, I had a little different, experience with a virtual audit that I think a hybrid thing of some sort. I mean, because you get stuff, when you're there on the street, obviously, that you didn't get, on it. But there were actually people that were able to attend it. There was an older lady that I don't know if she could have walked the whole distance on church, but she had really good ideas, observations about the kids crossing on the street on church, and that, east of Elm there and at the Gaston Middle School. I mean, she was very tuned into, traffic patterns on the street that I don't think we would have, if we'd had a live one. She may not have, been able to endure the walk there. So I, like I say, I think there's pros and cons to it, but I thought that there was some good input on the street there that I thought we did get some good information there. So always two sides of it, but yeah, certainly we, good to do it in person.
Thank you, Tony. Anything else about this one from Jill or anyone else?
That's all I had.
All right, thank you, Jill. I think that's the end, right? Do we have anything else? Okay, sounds good. Any other announcements or comments before we motion to adjourn?
I wanted to mention, I think I said it in a different item, but we did hire a grant administrator. She started on Monday. I will try to get her at one of our next meetings so that we can formally introduce you to her. Her name is Mary Church, and we are really excited to have her on board and filling that position after it's been vacant for what feels like 6 years, but I think it's only been about 6 months.
Yeah, I was gonna say for you guys, it probably felt like a lifetime.
Yes, and I also wanted to share, I know Laura, you had asked at the last meeting if we were going to apply for the Sustainable Communities grant from Caltrans. And on that date, I did not know what our plans were, but we did end up submitting an application for the ATP update. I turned that in today. So fingers crossed that we get awarded for that effort. We did apply for it back at the beginning of the winter, February, I think, and we're not awarded. So hopefully we'll be successful this time.
Wonderful. Thank you for the update. And good luck.
Thank you. I'm saying is it's over.
All right, anyone else or motion to adjourn? One of the two. Go ahead, Matthew.
I would just say when we motion to adjourn, we should, since we don't have a meeting in November, we should do it in recognition of World Remembrance Day for road traffic victims.
Sounds good. You want to make that motion?
Yes. I'll read it one more time. Make sure Susan gets it. I motion to adjourn in recognition of World Day of Remembrance for road traffic victims.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Destiny seconds. Anyone not want to adjourn? And we will adjourn in remembrance of what was it, Matthew?
I have to have it in front of me too. Okay, so, it's not good to laugh about though. World Day of Remembrance for road traffic victims.
Okay, that's what we're gonna adjourn in if there are no if nobody obviously declines to adjourn. So let's adjourn on that note, and we'll see everybody on December the 8th, correct? That's what we decided? December the 8th. Yeah. Sounds good. We'll see everyone then.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.